Hey guys, it's GOBBLEGUMS or Adam. Welcome back to another Black Ops 3 Zombies Top 5. And with Setsuba no Shima being a pretty bad map, I think everyone is now really looking forward to DLC 3, and we want DLC 3 to come out as soon as possible. So in today's Top 5, we are going to be going over the top 5 things that I want in DLC 3. So coming in at number 5 on my list, I would like to get some new perks and some new weapons in DLC 3, and I've talked a lot about this when it comes to Black Ops 3 Zombies, new weapons and new perks. We haven't gotten any new perks since Shadows of Evil. You know, the last new perk we got in Zombies was Widow's Wine, so it'd be nice if we could get a new perk. Now, I don't mean bring something back from Black Ops 2 or previous zombie games. I want a brand new perk added in DLC 3, something we have never seen before. And of course, for the new weapons, it'd be nice just to see some new weapons from maybe multiplayer or a campaign or whatever, or completely make up some new box weapons and also put it in the weapon kits. And if this third DLC is going to be about Nikolai, there has to be a PPSH. I believe that the PPSH is going to be returning somewhere in Black Ops 3 because it was in the files. It is going to return. We just don't know when. Hopefully it comes back here in DLC 3. So coming in at number 4 on my list, I want a longer and harder Easter egg. Setsuba no Shima really disappointed. The Easter egg was not difficult at all, and it was incredibly short compared to previous Easter eggs we've had in Call of Duty Zombies. So for this Easter egg, I would like the Easter egg to be a little more complex than Setsubu, and I want a boss battle that is actually somewhat difficult. I thought the Keeper on Dreisendrache was amazing, and also I thought the Setsuba no Shima one was incredibly easy. You really didn't have to have that much, maybe a couple of shotguns, and you're probably gonna have the skull, which makes the boss fight incredibly easy. For DLC 3, you know, I really want the Easter egg, the steps leading up to the actual boss fight, and of course I wanted to have a boss fight, but the steps leading up to that boss fight, I want it to be a little more difficult or longer than Setsuba no Shima and a little more complex than Dreisendrache. And of course, I want that boss fight to be hard because when you complete it, you really feel like you accomplished something. I like what they did with Dreisendrache. That boss fight was pretty difficult. I wouldn't mind even seeing a boss fight being a little more difficult because it really going back to that whole making you feel like you really accomplished something, like you did something. I love that about the Dreisendrache Easter egg. I want that same feeling in DLC 3. Coming in at number 3 on my list, I want multiple wonder weapons. Just like Dreisendrache, just like Origins. I think that works really well in Zombies, and people really like that because with other maps like Setsuba no Shima or Shadows of Evil or a lot of zombie maps, there's only one wonder weapon, and I think when you're playing a game of co-op with maybe 2, 3, 4 of your friends, then some people feel left out because they don't get to use the wonder weapon. Only one person gets it. And the cool thing about the staffs and the bows is everyone has kind of their own thing, their own special weapon, wonder weapon, and everybody gets to do it. Everybody gets a wonder weapon, and that it works really well in Zombies. People love that. That's why Origins and Dreisendrache are such successful maps. That's why people like them so much, because we get to use a whole bunch of different wonder weapons, and that's what I would like to see in DLC 3. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing as Origins and Dreisendrache. Maybe they can make some changes, do something different, but just being able to access multiple wonder weapons and everyone in your game can have their own wonder weapon is like a must for me. So coming in at number 2 on my list, I want to see better Gobblegums, and some of you may be surprised that it's, you know, in the number 2 spot, but with DLC 1 and 2, I feel that the Gobblegums have been kind of disappointing, and you know, we really don't talk about the Gobblegums much when it comes to these DLCs because we're all focused on the new map. We really don't talk about the Gobblegums too much. And the Gobblegums with DLC 1 and 2, we've gotten 8 new ones, and I've got to say they have been pretty disappointing. A lot of them sound really cool. Like the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, head drama and like fear in the headlights. Like those are two that sound really awesome, but in game they don't really work that well, or they're really not that effective. Like especially head drama, like all of your bullets going to the head of the zombies and it only lasts for a round. Like that's not worth one of my slots. Like all the Gobblegums, they're just not worth one of your slots. Maybe Secret Shopper if you're going for like a really high round, but other than that, like why would you want to waste one of your slots with these Gobblegums that aren't really that effective? If I want to actually use head drama, I need like 50 of them, and I'm probably going to use half of them in one game. So with DLC 3, I want to see better Gobblegums that are actually effective. So coming in at number 1 on my list, we have to have an easy setup. I never thought that a setup would be so important on a zombie map, but here we are, and look at Zetsubu no Shima, look at Shadows of Evil. I think especially for Zetsubu, that setup alone, just the setup process on that map, absolutely ruined the map. And we need to have not necessarily an easy setup. I shouldn't say easy, but an easier setup. But we need to have a setup that isn't going to take like 20 years. Like for Zetsubu, if you want to get fully set up, you want to have everything, you want to have the best strategy, we're talking like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get set up. When you look at a map like Dreisendrache or Origins or Mob of the Dead, a lot of the Black Ops 2 maps except Transit, the setup is, it takes some time, but it's not tedious and it doesn't take too long. I think the ideal time to set up is between like 30 and 45 minutes. I don't think that's too bad. When we start talking an hour plus or an hour and a half, that is too long to set up. You're not gonna want to play the map over and over and over again. That's why I personally like Dreisendrache so much. I feel like I can jump into a game, you know, if I end the game for some reason or I die, I feel like I can jump right back in and do the same thing or go for my high round, get set up, because it doesn't take too long and it's not very tedious. And of course, with these maps, you have a lot of options as well. You don't have to do the same thing every time. And that's where having the multiple wonder weapons comes in here as well, because if we can have different routes to take, it's going to make the setup way less tedious. So overall, the setup for DLC 3 shouldn't be any longer than an hour, because if it is, we're going to be suffering from the same problems we did with Shadows of Evil and Zetsubu no Shima. So anyways, guys, that is all for now. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Black Ops 3 Zombies Top 5s, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.